In the late 1800s, African Americans from the South found freedom and safety when they migrated to form townships in Indian Territory. Many black children in those towns didn't experience racism until they left home. Generations later, those black townships still provide lessons about Oklahoma's black history.
In 1911, Boley was the largest black town in America. 7,000 people lived and worked there. When Booker T. Washington visited, he referred to Boley as the most enterprising and in many ways the most interesting of the Negro towns in the U.S. Boley was formed in Indian Territory 4 years before Oklahoma statehood.
Oklahoma wasn't a state until 1907. And it was perceived as sort of a land of opportunity where people could have political rights, could have economic opportunity, and could prove themselves to whites on the theory that, once we sort of prove that we're industrious and reliable and so forth, the discrimination that we face will abate. That's kind of the Booker T. Washington philosophy.
But did it happen?
No.
Hannibal Johnson authored the book Acres of Aspiration, the all-black towns in Oklahoma. Johnson says when Oklahoma became a state, whites followed the lead of southern states.
It's the first piece of legislation out of the legislature in Oklahoma in 1907 was Jim Crow law that segregated railroad facilities. Education was segregated. The Constitution defined a person as Negro or colored if he or she had a scintilla or a drop of black blood.
In the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, children in towns like Boley grew up with a sense of pride because they were isolated from Jim Crow laws.
When I went to college, I didn't even know I had to ride the back of the bus. I had heard about it, but I didn't think it meant me.
Henrietta Hicks says when she first traveled by bus from college back to Boley, her grandfather warned her to take a seat in the back next time. Before that incident, Hicks said she'd only heard about discrimination, which took place in white towns like Okemah, just a few miles away.
At the theater, the black folk had to go down the alley and go up the stairs and sit in the balcony. My aunt and uncle absolutely would not allow us to do that. He wouldn't allow it to do it. But what you don't know won't hurt you.
But Hicks went anyway and didn't mind the segregated seating because the balcony had the best seats in the house. At that time, Okemah already had a long history of bigotry.
In 1911, one of the most horrific lynchings in America happened in Okemah, the lynching of Laura Nelson and her son from a bridge in Okemah. Okemah, of course, is Woody Guthrie's hometown.
By 1920, Oklahoma had around 50 all-black towns or communities, more than any other state in the nation. They thrived because of cotton and farming. The town of Clearview was still a bustling place in the 1930s. 87-year-old Otis Davis grew up in Clearview.
Grocery stores, drug stores, post office, and they had, in the 30s, we had a brickyard. They made bricks, manufactured bricks here. And then we would all go pick cotton to make a living, We picked cotton, and everybody lived good here, but we was all poor on the same level, so we got along,
Davis's childhood home is one of the few remaining houses in Clearview. He says generations of his family have lived in Clearview, and they originally settled here because of slavery.
His grandpa's mother was a slave, and this master had 12 kids by her, 12. And so when they freed the slaves, well then everybody heard about Oklahoma. This was open territory, and so they said, "You go to Oklahoma, you're free." It wasn't a law or nothing. So they all got in the wagon and started coming this way.
97-year-old Marguerite French's grandmother was born into slavery and was married to a white man. She says the couple got a warning from the sheriff.
So he told them they better get out of Texas because it was against the law for a white man to have a black wife. So they loaded up and they came to Indian Territory.
As a young girl, French says she saw discrimination firsthand when she visited Okemah and went to a restaurant known for its chili. Whites ate in the front, blacks in the back.
So I went to town with my grandmother, and I went back there, and I saw them scraping out where the white people had ate, bringing it back there to them, and I wouldn't eat. I never did eat in there.
Clearview only protected Marilyn Ballard-Jackson through 8th grade. For high school, she had to attend an integrated school in nearby Waleetka. In her senior year, she was in the running for a college scholarship. It went to a white boy.
I asked why I didn't get it, and I was told it's because you're Negro, you're female, and it shows that most females that go to college, black, you don't finish. You go the first year, you get pregnant, and you drop out. And it hurt. I went home, I told my dad, and he says, "You want to go to school?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You're going to go, no matter what."
Jackson graduated at the top of her class from East Central University. After retiring from a teaching career, she moved back to Clearview, but it's not much of a town now. There are only 13 all-black towns left in Oklahoma, but their populations are sparse.
Do you think Clearview will continue?
I think after a while that if someone is not interested in preserving it, it's going to disappear.
Some of the youngsters that come along, they love the black towns, they love their homes, but they can't make a living in them, so they have to leave, and that's why.
Hicks believes Boley has a chance to survive, but the town needs an infusion of cash. The landmark water tower needs to be refurbished, and streets need repair.
I still have great hopes for Boley. My desire is that we can clean up the town, we can get money in to refurbish some of the buildings, that we can bring some businesses back.
Boley will never be what it was in its heyday, but the preservation of it and other black towns is important to those who want their history remembered for generations to come.